Have you ever wondered what to do as a creative because you love so much stuff? You love painting and music and dance and drama and all these things. And you're like, God, what do I do? What do I focus on? Well, a lot of people struggle with that. We're going to talk about that today here on 5 Minute Mentoring. Have you ever wanted to have someone in your life who you could ask real questions about your art, your business, and even your walk with the Lord? Well, that's exactly what we do every Friday here on 5 Minute Mentoring, where I answer one question from one of my awesome podcast listeners in order to help you start really thriving as the artist you know God created you to be. Well, hey there, my friend. Welcome to the podcast today. Listen, if I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times. Matt, you say to focus, but I love so many things. How do I focus in my life? And we're gonna dive into that today because it's a really, really important concept to understand, especially if you're wanting to take your art to the next level as a serious hobby, part-time or full-time, or as a ministry. There's got to be focus. But a lot of people have this question. In fact, my friend Anthony from over in the UK had a question about this, and here's Anthony's question.
Hi Matt, my name is Anthony from London, UK. My question, how do you decide, what would your advice be for people who are, for example, a musician, a poet, a fine artist? What would your advice be about which way to go? I mean, you were a worship leader, and you went into baskets and fine art. So, what's your advice? Thanks. God bless.
Well, Anthony, thanks a lot for your question. And, I think for a lot of us that are creatives, we find ourselves multi-focused and multi-interested all the time. That's kind of a normal part of being a creative. But I think the real key for all of us, especially that are wanting to take our creativity to the next level, either as a part-time or full-time business or a serious hobby or ministry, is that we've really got to know what season we're in life. The Bible says that there's a season for everything. And I think just like that verse that talks about the sons of Issachar, they knew the times and they knew what to do. And I think about that often for my own life, that, Lord, what time am I in? What is the season that I'm in right now, creatively, financially, in business? How are you wanting to bring provision in my life? And then what resources and opportunities have you given me in order to do that? Because here's the deal. Just because you love to do something creatively doesn't mean that it necessarily has the capacity at this moment to bring in a part-time or full-time income into your life. And so you got to determine, where you are in that season and determine with the Lord, hey, listen, does this really have the capacity to bring income at this point? Because here's the thing. There are three things that really go into that when I think about the possibility of transitioning into doing something from a business perspective. Number one, is it unique? All right, because uniqueness is one of the big things that drives people's willingness to pay for something. Number two, does it meet a desire or need that's out there in the marketplace? And then number three, if it is unique and it does meet a need, is it something that people are willing to pay for? And that's something that you can do just as research. Look out there in the marketplace and see what other people are doing, and look out there and kind of, I call it survey the neighborhood, and see what's going on and kind of start determining, okay, yeah, what I've got to offer right now is unique. Nobody else is doing it. It would meet a specific desire. There's a group of people out there that are looking for that, and I see they're willing to pay for that. So there's a good opportunity that I can begin to move out into that area. All right. All that has to go into your time with the Lord, prayer, really discerning what season that you're in and how he's going to begin to bring provision into your life. But here's the deal. All right. Because to get to the crux of your question, is, well, okay, Matt, I got a lot of things that I want to do. How do I determine which one is going to bring income into my life? Well, here's the deal. No matter how much you love to do lots and lots of things, nobody can do everything that they're passionate about creatively all at once, all at a high level of mastery, all in a way that's going to bring income into their life. It just breeds disjointedness in your life. All right. See, I've learned over the years that focus brings a number of different things. All right. Number one, it brings growth and mastery, because whatever you focus on is going to expand. All right. It's going to grow. It's going to get bigger and get more a part of your life. There are going to be more opportunities. Focus is going to bring momentum in your life. All right. And it's also going to build brand recognition and connection with a niche of clients. All right. So if you're not connected, the opposite is true. All right. Rarely do you grow and accelerate and develop mastery at the same speed. Rarely do you get the same momentum happening. Rarely do you get the clear brand and connection that you need with clients and referral partners in order to actually build a business. All right. So I'll just give you an example for me. The seasons of my life, when I got out of college, I felt God calling me into ministry. And so I was in ministry for a number of years. I was a worship leader, all that. And I did my baskets on the side. It was a hobby. I sold a few at shows, that sort of thing. Not a big deal. I made my Christmas money every year, but that's what I did. And that was really fine for me. All right. As I transitioned, I determined that as I was in ministry, I loved doing marketing and graphic design. So I left ministry, started a marketing company. All right. Was very successful doing that. But guess what? Still doing my baskets, still leading worship on the side. But those are not things that were necessarily bringing income into my life at that point. They were serious hobbies, but they were not income generating things for me in a huge way. All right. Now that I went through that season, and then in 2009, God called me to be a father to artists, to raise up an army of artists, to do what I'm doing now. I started writing books for the first time. I'd never done that before. I started speaking, and guess what? The Lord told me that he was going to start using my baskets, parentheses, that I had been working on for 15 years. All right. He said, I'm going to start using that then as the vehicle to bring you to Asheville, North Carolina, a seat of influence in the arts, to put you in the seat of influence. And guess what? He did that. And God began to blow us out of the water with opportunity and income. And my business really started growing, and my art really started taking off. It's been an incredible experience. All right. So you can look each one of the seasons of my life. I'm doing something that I was passionate about, but one thing was taking the primary seat. All right. And that is the thing that I would encourage you to get with the Lord on, Anthony. And for anybody struggling with that, ask the Lord, I know you give me a lot of things, but what is it for right now that you want me to put my time, energy, and resources into so that I can develop growth, mastery, momentum, brand connection, and really the income that you need to survive and that you need to really thrive in this life. All right. As you zero in on that, I believe you'll begin to really sense what I call double doors of favor and a real grace to begin to pursue the thing that God's put on you for this season in particular. Doesn't mean you're not doing the other things, just means that they're not happening in your life in a primary way. All right. Other two things I want to mention to you is that in episode number 58, I talk about this issue even in more detail about how to focus your creative energy. Also, in episode number 140 here on the podcast, I talk about how to transition from where you are now to where you want to be in your creative journey. And I think both of those podcast episodes will be a real blessing to you, Anthony, and of course, anybody else that's listening as well. All right. Well, guys, listen, I always love getting questions from folks like Anthony from all over the world. And if you've got a question, all you got to do is go to matttommymentoring.com/podcast. You can click the button right there that says leave Matt a voicemail. And that's specifically for questions for the podcast. I listen to them every week. I go through and pick the best ones that I think will be most applicable to my podcast listeners. And I would absolutely love to answer your question. All right. Well, until next time, I love you very much. And remember, you were created to thrive. Bye-bye.